custom of reciting the 22nd chapter of Tehillim in honor of the holiday of Purim was already documented in the 14th century in Spain by Rabbi David Abu Darham. This Mizmor starts with L'Naseya ala Yelet HaShahar. A Yelet is a female deer, and the Gemara compared Queen Esther to a female deer, since she was as beloved to Ahashverosh as a female deer is to her mate. Abu Darham also pointed to the acronym of Haman in this Mizmor, when it said, Hasila Mehereb Nafshi, which refers to Hashem saving one's life from a sword. Abu Darham also mentioned reciting the 124th chapter of Tehillim, which begins Shir HaMa'alot and has the verse, Lulei Adonai Shehaya Lanu, Bekum Aleinu Adam. If it weren't for Hashem who was with us, when a man rose up against us. The Gemara Masechet Megillah explained that the man in that verse is Haman. However, according to the Abu Darham, these psalms are recited on the morning of Purim, towards the end of Shahrit. He has the Shir HaMa'alot while returning the Sefer Torah, and the Naseh ala Yelet HaShahar right after Kaddish Kabal. And even in more recent times, we find the Mizmor of ala Yelet HaShahar on the morning of Purim, after returning the Sefer Torah in the famous 19th century Siddur, Bet Obed, and in the 20th century Siddur, Tefilat Yeshurun. But the custom of Halab was only to recite the Mizmor of ala Yelet HaShahar on the night of Purim, right before Arbit, and the Shir HaMa'alot is recited at the end of Arbit, instead of the usual Shir HaMa'alot before Kaddish and Aleinu. The Shir HaMa'alot is recited again the next day in Minha, instead of the Naseach bin Ginot, again before Kaddish and Aleinu. In his book Ro'ei Ne'eman, Hakam Yitzhak Shehebar recorded the order of the prayers for Arbit and Shahrit on Purim. He has the Mizmor of ala Yelet HaShahar to start Arbit, and the Shir HaMa'alot at the end of Arbit, before Kaddish and Aleinu. And in his instructions for Shahrit, he specified that the Mizmor of ala Yelet HaShahar is not recited. The book Derech Eretz also noted that the Mizmor of ala Yelet HaShahar is recited before Arbit, but not at all in Shahrit. And Derech Eretz also recorded the custom of saying the Shir HaMa'alot in Arbit and Mincha Purim instead of the usual Shir HaMa'alot and Lam Naseh bin Ginot that are recited on weekdays. Now the Abu Darham also wrote that the Mizmor of ala Yelet HaShahar is recited on Ta'anit Esther after Kaddish Kabal and Shahrit. He also has another Mizmor that is recited on Som Gedalia and on Asara B'Tebet, as well as a third Mizmor for Shib'a Asar B'Tamuz. However, we do not recite ala Yelet HaShahar on Ta'anit Esther or the other Mizmorim on the other fast days. The not yet published Ma'agalei Aretz by Rabbi Shlomo Saka Antebi states that according to Hakam Yitzhak Tawil, the custom of Halab is not to recite a Mizmor for any fast day in any of the prayers. And this is also the custom in the Yesod Hadat congregation in Argentina. And this was also the original custom of the Halabi community in New York. The only time a Mizmor is added at the end of Shahrit is in a Bet Abel, a house of mourning, when the 49th chapter of Tehillim is recited. That Mizmor starts with L'Naseach L'Nikorach Mizmor. Interestingly, Hakam Yosef Abadi Shayo wrote that it said before Kaveh and Shahrit, but in our community it is usually recited right after Hoshi'enu, before Kaddish. So our custom is to only recite the Mizmor of ala Yelet HaShahar once, right before Arbit on the night of Purim. We don't recite it in Shahrit on Purim, or at all on Ta'anit Esther. Furthermore, we don't ever recite a Mizmor for a fast day in any of the prayers. The only Mizmor that we ever add after Hoshi'enu and Shahrit is the Mizmor for a Bet Abel in a house of mourning. But we do have another Mizmor for Purim that starts Shir HaMa'alot, which is recited towards the end of Arbit and Minha on the holiday of Purim.